stage in a domain once dominated by men. They are proving that innovation knows no gender boundaries. Across the continent, there is an emerging wave of brilliant African women who are changing the face of STEM. From Nigeria to South Africa to Kenya to even Ghana, those women are excelling in various STEM fields. They are mathematicians, scientists, engineers, and even technologists, and they are thriving. Those women are challenging stereotypes and paving the way for more girls to pursue careers in these fields. And this will be our talking point on today's program, as we'll be joined by the first female president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Margaret Oguntala, to know how Nigerian women are making waves in STEM and how she came into the first office. Margaret will join us immediately after our lined-up segments of Women in the News, About Now, and Voices segments. To stay with us. We'll be right back.
Women drawn from different sectors and strata of society, such as women thought leaders, civil society, academics, public service, elders forum, and retirees held a Zoom call under the auspices of Women in Politics Forum on Feminization of Corruption in Nigeria, a call to action, calling for the suspension of the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, and thorough investigation of the alleged fraud in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. The forum also wants the head of service to investigate the permanent secretary, whose duty as the administrative head is to advise the minister. The forum say the investigation should also include the directors of finance and audits, who have the primary responsibility of check and balance in public finance and accountability, as it stresses that proper and thorough forensic and administrative audits be conducted and results publicized. It says its move is born out of concerns about the narratives and framing of alleged corruption and malfeasance in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and poverty alleviation as a women's big problem, when in fact corruption is gender neutral and perpetuated by all genders and sexes. The women noted that it is essential to recognize that such biased assessments can reinforce gender stereotypes and hinder efforts to achieve gender equity. To contain the challenge of feminization of corruption, as is currently the trend in Nigeria, the following recommendations were proposed. There should be proper investigation of the cases of corruption and malfeasance in the Ministry of Social Intervention Funds, and culprits should be punished according to the law. The traditional chiefs and elders of Zedu, Grand Gade County in eastern Liberia have partnered with Spotlight Initiative in their quest to eradicate female genital mutilation in the region. Chief Wilford Gar, a member of the National Traditional Council of Chiefs and Elders of Liberia, and Rebecca Yao, a respected head of the Women's Soe in Grand Gade County, share their inspiring stories of personal growth and community transformation, as they say they believe that traditional practices held the key to a better and transformed lifestyle. But however, the misbeliefs and misconceptions clouded their judgment. Things changed when Spotlight Initiative reached Grand Gade County. Spotlight Initiative partners with traditional chiefs and elders to combat harmful practices that perpetuate inequality and violence. These community leaders proudly affirmed that the traditional chiefs and elders have wholeheartedly embraced the change. And through the combined efforts of Spotlight Initiative, the Traditional Council, and the dedicated community members, Grand Gade County is paving the way for a more inclusive and progressive Liberia, where the rights and well-being of all individuals are protected. Female artists are a major driver of the Afrobeats phenomenon, producing some of the top singles and collaborations that rank as the most streamed Afrobeats hits, both on the continent and abroad. Their global recognition is aided by wins and mentions in the world's top music and entertainment awards. Afrobeats emerged in the late 1960s and primarily involved the fusion of a variety of West African music genres such as juju, highlife, fuji, and Yoruba vocals, rhythms, and instrumentals. During this period, the music grew mostly on the continent and was primarily associated with two African countries, Nigeria and Ghana. Today, young African artists, many in their 20s, are infusing the genre with R&B, soul, hip-hop, and reggaeton to create their own easily identifiable beats. According to streaming platform Spotify, Afrobeats track were streamed more than 13.5 billion times on the platform in 2022, up from 2 billion in 2017. Here is a list of 10 top female Afrobeats artists, ranked according to the number of streams on the streaming platform Spotify as in June 2023. Tems is a multi-award winning female Afrobeats artist whose work continues to gain global acclaim and attract international collaborators. She was the first Nigerian female artist to win a Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance alongside Drake and feature for their song Wait For You, Lift Me Up, which Tems co-wrote with Rihanna, which featured on the soundtrack to 2022's Black Panther.
I'll definitely be bringing you up to speed to the rest of the top 10 in that list. Of course, Ira Star made it, Yemi Alade made it. The list is endless. Of course, Tiwa Savage also made it. And pick up to a young female Nigerian artist who had made it on that list. And I think we'll see more of them in this year, 2024. Now, talking about people breaking glass ceilings and also breaking barriers, I told you earlier on we'll be looking at STEM, but most importantly is to look at women who are breaking those barriers and leading from the front. And I have with me Margaret Aina Oguntala with me in the studio. And I would want to say a bit about her because her, oh my gosh, in fact, her CV and her profile, it doesn't do justice to the endless years and participation she has given back to the society of Nigerian engineers, especially the women. 25 years, and after 65 years, we're having the first female. In fact, she was the chairman of the NCE Ikeja branch from 2009 to 2011, which she led the ESCO to ensure completion of the first phase of the NCE Ikeja branch secretariat. And apart from that as well, she's a three-term vice president, 2024, 2015, 2016, and during which her tenure as Vice President, Corporate Resources and Media as well. And of course, you want to also know that she served in the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers in various capacities and associations of professional bodies and had numerous awards as well. And she's with me live in the studio, not via Zoom. No, she's live in the studio, and I would like to say congratulations first.
Thank you.
Like I said to you backstage, it's been a marathon, you know.
Yeah,
and
it has.
It has, and you're going to get more of those because it's not easy. It's not a mean feat.
That's true.
And, you know, interestingly so, it's happening in a time where more girls are looking up to mentors, looking up to people, women like themselves, to be able to, you know, create and bridge the gap in the STEM system. So tell us your journey so far before we get to the presidents.
Well, thank you very much, Adora.
You're welcome.
My journey so far. Well, I joined the Nigerian Society of Engineers, like you have said, in 1995. And incidentally, I joined the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria first, and then went on to join the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Prior to that, I'd been a member of the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers. And it just, because of the kind of person that I am, I believe in service, you know, and I had no problems volunteering, you know, because one has to do a lot of that to be able to move on in life. So I simply just volunteered, and within 1 year of joining the Nigerian Society of Engineers, I started participating at the level of chairman, organizing committee for events and all. So I did a lot of that, and then rose to become the chairman, the first female chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Ikeja branch. And because we had never had a woman, I knew that I had to do a lot to make a mark. So,
okay.
And I was able to do that with my team. So prior to my becoming chairman, the secretariat of our branch was domiciled or based in the private offices of the various chairmen, including mine. But by the time I finished my tenure, we were able to move to the secretariat of the branch. So that was a landmark achievement for me, and that kind of launched me to the national, because of course a few other things that I was able to accomplish as chairman of Ikeja branch. So it's been a journey of hard work, resilience, and focus. Focus, yes, because I kept my eye on the ball.
Absolutely.
All the time.
And a lot of planning.
A lot of planning as well, because knowing when to do what, and a lot of politicking. So I had to do lobbying. So fortunately for me, I'd learned some politicking right from school.
Okay.
I contested and won election into the University of Benin Engineering Student Society in 1981, and then later became, in my 300 level, I went to the student union. Even as an engineering student, I had my eye on some kind of politics, and I enjoyed it. So by the time I started serving in FNSE, it was not too difficult for me to navigate. So I also knew, so collaboration is also one of the things that I learned along the way in my journey, collaborating with other people. So I learned to build bridges across, because I'm from the Southwest.
Okay.
And you can't win election when you are, espoused in your own community. So I learned to build bridges across geopolitical zones. And one other thing that worked for me was the fact that I was born in Ondo State. I grew up in Kwara State. I went to the University of Benin. Then I served in Kano. So I would say that I'm a true Nigerian. So mixing with people, collaborating with people, building bridges with other people is something that I've done almost all my life.
Okay, so, and of course you went to St. Clair's Grammar
St. Clair's
School,
Grammar
where
School.
you were a prefect in your
I was social prefect.
Social prefect. So
yes.
It started from, I mean, some people in the local parlance, they your body. All right, so let's look at STEM.
Yes.
When you look at science and you look at mathematics, you look at engineering, it doesn't. Young girls are usually not, raised to think in that direction. And throughout education, most of them are also limited to access to some of this, conversations around those courses. And so find it very difficult in the later years to begin to think science.
Yes.
What would you think, should be the right approach, especially coming from the curricular approach and perhaps starting from the home?
Well, starting from the home, let me take it from starting from the home. You see, the major problem that you have, the greatest barrier, is the one that comes, there's a traditional one, the cultural barrier. And it usually starts from home. For instance, the mother will encourage the boys to go play football. The girl goes to the kitchen. And then in buying toys for them, they will buy serious toys for boys, and then Barbie doll and sewing kits for the girls.
And cooking utensils.
And cooking utensils. Yeah. So that means that right from the home, the girl child is brought up to believe that she doesn't need to get into any serious or technical vocational line or field, but just become a teacher or a tailor or something. So that means that from the home, particularly as mothers, we need to let our girls know that, look, you are just as smart as the boys. And my father did a lot for me in that respect. My mother is more, she's an introvert, but my father was an extrovert. And we were friends. So he would tell me right from when I was young. I was his first child, and I was a girl, but he never treated me like a girl. So he treated me like an equal, so to speak. So he taught me that, look, you are better than any other person. You know how your father will help you build your confidence. So, so confidence is what we also need to build in our girls. You know, let them know that they can be anything that they want to be. They have what it takes. They have the intellectual capabilities and all of that. So that breaks that barrier. And then the cultural, you know, even my father, open-minded as he was not very receptive to me becoming an engineer. So he asked me, why do you want to become an engineer? So he wanted me to become a doctor. And I didn't want that. So, but eventually, because of the kind of person that he was, he allowed me. So we also need to come out of that kind of, you know, thinking or mindset, you know. So we bring them from cradle
and upwards.
And upwards.
Okay.
Instill in them the sense of maybe confidence and then the right
assurance that this is the right path.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Now, women only make up, I think, up to just 34% of the workforce in the STEM sector. And the conversation is that there should be more mentorship, you know, from women like you. Now you are the president.
Yeah.
What's your mandate towards that? How are you going to look at reviewing how more girls can get into the STEM spaces and also use that to open up membership for more women in the association?
Yes, okay. We actually have a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers that does that, and they do it very well. Okay. The Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria. So they have taken their campaign to the primary school. They have a program, I think it's called Invent It, Build It, Build It, which they took to the primary school. They build laboratories for them. They teach them how to put things together, you know, construction of bridges in the simplest way. So what I plan to do now is to work more, you know, support Upwin to be able to carry out those programs. And it's through collaboration. So we, as NSC, it's easier to get collaborators and partners for such programs, you know, than Upwin, which is just a division of the NSC. So the mentorship now is what I'm also planning a lot of mentorship, but of course for NSC it will include boys.
Boys, absolutely.
Yes, it will include boys. But I have there's an academy. I call it an academy which was launched in 2022. It's called Margaret Aina Oguntala Capacity Development Academy for girls. So this is to mentor girls, to help them to become entrepreneurs, to attach them. We attach them to industries where they can have hands-on training. So, and it's meant for young graduates. So I intend to also continue with that on a larger scale, you know. So, and then as much as possible, I have a lot of young girls that I mentor.
Absolutely.
So now I know that I have
building program
yes,
as well.
Yes. So now I know that I have a greater responsibility to do that. So because they look up to me now. I mean, I'm a kind of inspiration to them. So I intend to engage more with them. You know?
So how are you going to engage government? Because it's always been a problem, you know, in terms of, you know, their political will to keep things going and also to shove up the numbers of responsibilities and inclusion of Nigerian engineers in the process.
Yes, my immediate response to that will be to have a kind of think tank for policy formulation, a think tank that will be proactive, you know, in looking at what we need to do, what government needs to do, and putting together a paper or a discussion, or roundtable discussion from time to time, to we'll invite them, engage them more, you know, and continue to talk to them, because I think that's just about what we can do, you know. And the more the conversation that we have, the more we engage with them, the more when we also kind of improve our own visibility, making them realize, and then also giving back, having more impact in the community. I'm sure that they will reckon more with us.
And again, in terms of, you know, taking it down to the grassroots, especially community adoption of several things, how are you going to also look at including communities? Well,
that's even something that we started earlier before. I think since about 2 years ago, we've been doing it. So we have our branches all over Nigeria. We have about 86 branches, which include about 5 in the diaspora. So the 81 branches in Nigeria have the mandate, you know, to do projects, to identify challenges in their immediate environment and offer engineering solutions to them. And as a matter of fact, in the last, my immediate predecessor made it, took an idea to council that if for a company, for a branch, because we have what we call the branch group dynamics competition every year for the best branch. By the way, I won it when I was chairman of Ikeja branch.
I'm not surprised.
So, but for any branch to qualify for that competition, that branch must have a documented community project. So it's something that we have started, and we only do it on a larger scale, encouraging the branches to to have such community projects, which at the headquarters we can assess, we'll monitor, we'll also evaluate from time to time.
Okay.
So that will be taking it to the grassroots.
So if there were more people to join, especially women, and they're listening to you right now, and they would want to come on board, how would you advise that they proceed?
Well, my advice will be this, that they start by volunteering. Because when you volunteer, then people have the opportunity to know, you have the opportunity to showcase yourself, your talents, your abilities, your capabilities, and your professional know-how. So once you do that, then it's easier for people to identify you and then give you greater roles, and then you improve your capacity. You also develop along the line, you also develop yourself academically, professionally, and all of that. So to ensure that you make yourself ready for higher roles as time goes on. And then hard work is, there's no gainsaying that you have to be very hardworking, and you must be resilient.
And so with hard work and capacity, there is no hiding place.
No.
You will definitely be identified.
Yes.
I know that we're running out of time. I was going to talk to you about mathematics anxiety, because you have a lot of young girls, who have maths anxiety, and I think that's where the loss of self-confidence, starts from. So what would you advise in terms of the teaching of maths and its inclusion in the curriculum?
The thing is, the best way to it is to make it as simple as possible. I had two types of teachers, mathematics teachers. And the first one that I had, I just didn't like her, so I didn't like mathematics. And then came this woman. Well, I went to a girls' school, so most of our teachers were women. And then came this woman who broke it down.
Oh dear.
She broke it down completely and made it much easier. So I think we should teach mathematics with real life experiences, so that it's easier for the children to grasp. And then they will understand that it's just mathematics is your everyday. It's something that you see every day. It's not rocket science.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, you've heard it from her. If you don't like your maths teacher, you may not like mathematics. So you have to like your teacher before you like your maths. But basically saying is to simplify it for girls, and that with the growing number of girls in STEM, mentorship is key. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you'll be doing very remarkable things as the first female president.
I plan to. God helping me.
And you will. You will. On this side of it, I would say thank you so much for joining us this evening. And it's been wonderful talking to Margaret Aina Oguntala. And like she said, watch out for this space. My name is Adora Sidney Jack. Goodbye for now.
All across the nations, all around the world, women are longing to be free. No longer in the shadows, forced to stay behind, but side by side in true equality. So sing a song for we.